Jonathan, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Talking about the heat pumps, there's been a lot of talk about various heat sources throughout the 2 days here. Heat pumps, so are they the solution to energy savings?
They're one of the solutions to energy saving. We know that in the UK there are a lot of challenges in the building stock that we have, and it's a case of looking at how each application behaves, what it needs and how the requirements are, and then tailoring the right technology to suit. And yes, in a lot of applications, heat pumps are the solution.
So why is the heat pump low carbon technology?
Well, very simply, a heat pump, when designed, installed and commissioned correctly, is capable of producing fewer carbon emissions than a gas boiler system. And that, as far as European and UK legislation is concerned, is the key guide and marker.
Okay, so if anybody was thinking about getting heat pumps, what do they actually need to take into account? Because I'm sure there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, there are a lot of variables. It's basically looking at what your initial requirement is. What are you looking to achieve with it, and what are you looking for within the building? So, for example, if you are looking to do a full retrospective installation, what can you do to change the heat emitters? And key for us and key for any renewable technology really is what can you do with the fabric? We talk a lot about lean, mean, green. So specifically, how do you actually insulate the property? How do you increase the glazing? How do you do the roof insulation? And make sure that's as airtight as possible. And then start to look at how you're using energy, so creating the meanness, if you like, and then bringing in the green technology. This technology is cost effective, but it's not it's not cheap. It's not how people would expect a gas boiler to cost. So it's looking at how you actually implement that in the best way.
Excuse me. Oh, dying to do that. Well, finally then, why do organisations actually choose heat pumps? I mean, is it for cost? Is it for carbon reduction? Again, is it a variable?
It is a variable. It's a good question. When you start the journey, you don't quite know what organisations are looking for. And surprisingly, you don't always get the same answers. And even if they're identical organisations, for example, housing associations and councils, they all have their own obligations. They all have to meet their own standards. Particularly in Scotland, you have to meet with social housing. Their areas of legislation. With private housing and new build, you have new Section 6, as we would call it, standards as well. So it's looking at how the solution fits in with their obligations and tailoring it. So with the Ecodan heat pump system, we have to not only look at how to design the system, but also how you are monitoring it. So we're putting a lot of emphasis on actually collating data so that it's very transparent on how efficient it is. This then feeds back into the reporting side. So I think going forward into the next 5-6 years, what you will see is a big shift towards collating data and actually justifying and actually measuring carbon savings. It's good to know that we're doing it, but we need to know how much and to what extent.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed.
No
Cheers,
problem.
Jonathan.
Thank you.